Hello guys, my name is Amit Sani and I welcome you on this daily Hindu last video in the morning. These videos come in the evening. The MCQ lessons they are coming. Both the lessons are very important, and this is the starting of a new month. Only 3 months are left in this year and 5 months for the next year before the prelims examination. So you have to recalibrate everything. And one thing I would say, problems will mount and they will be a lot in number, but you have to rise above all of them. And rising means you have to work on your efficiency, more and more efficiency. Every day work on your efficiency. This should be the prime task for you. More and more sitting hours there, and more and more focus means only sitting is not sufficient. You stay away from your distractions and you focus more and more on your studies. If this thing will be possible for you, then certainly you can achieve this important goal. And whatever you have taken in your hand, just finish that task first. Whether you have that much interest now or not, that doesn't matter, but you have taken a responsibility. You complete that first. Okay, so that's really important, because sometimes we may doubt on ourselves that due to our inefficiency, due to our less hard work on that subject, we may think that we have taken a wrong subject, wrong career option, and something like that. These are all distractions. You have taken something out of a deep thinking, then you fulfill that goal. That's the prime responsibility, because you can do everything. You see, this line means a lot. You can do everything, because in any emergency condition we are bound to do everything, and we complete everything. We finish all the tasks. So that's why it is not impossible. Just work on your efficiency. That is something which is very important at this stage. So let's start the lesson. 1st of October it is, and Pocket News app trending on Google Play, and you can download that. Regarding these courses, the descriptions are given below the video. You can call on these numbers, and the chat section is available here. All the courses you can ask anything about, and PDF you will get here on this Facebook group, and Telegram channel you will find here. And here you can follow me on Instagram. Now we will change a particular method. We will try this. We will discuss the facts first, then we will go to the articles, because many times we miss the facts, and in the evening lesson I take that, and many of you do not watch the evening lesson. That is way more important. So I would request again, please do not miss the evening class lecture. Very important. That is Kerala tops education ranking. Important is Niti Aayog's index, SECI, School Education Quality Index. Here they are presenting reports, and multiple reports are there. In the bigger states, Kerala has topped the list, and second is there Rajasthan, and that's really good for a backward state like Rajasthan. And UP is the worst state in overall parameters. And this first edition of SECI assess the states on basis of learning outcomes, access, equity, infrastructure, facilities, and governance process. So these are the parameters there. So they may ask you about that, and they have taken help from National Achievement Surveys of 17-18 and Unified District Information UDI on school education data of 16-17. So these are the helps there. An important thing is that many specific parameters were there, like the equity module, the equity index. Tamil Nadu has topped that. Means there are lesser differences in the learning outcomes of general students and the SC/ST OBC students, because this is also a kind of a very unfortunate reality of this country. And there the equity is good between these two groups. So this is a very good thing for a state like Tamil Nadu, where a lot of caste divisions are visible, and they are way more stronger in that area. And there in the schooling, the starting learning years of life, there these inequalities are lesser. And you see, we have to carry this performance, we have to carry this excellence in the higher education too, because in the higher education sector there is a gloomy situation. There is a large amount of hopelessness, and students do not see good careers there. And state universities, colleges, these are very mediocre institutions. You cannot expect any kind of excellence there, any kind of great career opportunity there. And permanent teachers are not there, recruitments are not there. So things are really, really unfortunate. And these are all centers of local politics, and caste identities are very strong there, and all the disturbed ways, no parameters, no standards are followed, and you cannot compare these things with the important institutions there like IIT, IIMs, and other important universities are there in this country. You cannot compare with all of them, all of these excellent institutions with the states, universities and colleges. That's really a unfortunate thing, and the same pattern is being carried on there. Some changes due to digitization, they are certainly there, but the progress is extremely slow, and actually there is a kind of a decline there. So you just suppose we are improving in the school education, and these students will look for the universities and all will not be able to get admissions in these prime institutions of India. So they will enter in these mediocre institutions, and they will see the gloomy condition. The infrastructure is the worst in these old buildings, and the sincerity, the teachers, and only the guest faculties or the contract based faculties are working. Sometimes teachers are not even there, subjects are not running there. So these kind of things, when they will observe what is going to happen with their aspirations, you just suppose that, and the whole belief system on the education, that is ruined. So that is why this excellent outcome in the schooling area, we have to continue in the higher education sector too. So with this important index, there is a deep concern over higher education, and we have to work a lot there so that the passage is cleared after the school education. Otherwise we will lose all this important improvement there. Okay, Karnataka was the topper in the learning outcomes category, and mathematics performance of class 3, 5, 8 students and language performances were evaluated, and those were really good. So this is nice, and UP here is at around 36.4 percentage score. Really a shameful score. Whatever we claim, if we lag behind in the school's quality education, nothing we can expect as a good future for this country. And the maximum number of youth are present in UP, and the condition in the schools is really gloomy. You see the difference there. Karnataka at 76.6%, and sorry, Kerala at 76.6%, Karnataka very close to that, and Rajasthan, Andhra Pradesh, they are at this stage, and UP 36.4 means it looks like they do not even care about the education there. Really a gloomy condition. And majority of the population, the highest number of population is there in that state. So it's really scary, and they need to focus a lot, and all kinds of worst things we see. If we talk about law and order situation, if we talk about the religious fanaticism, if we see, and political disturbances, everything is present in UP. But here in the school education parameters, you see the condition, and that is why these are the evaluation parameters, and they just contradict those claims of a happy life, of a happy governance, and all these things. So whatever government is there, they have to be extremely concerned about this situation, and the education is the basis of all the progress. And second is the health, and health sector is also in a tardy condition. Just that discussion is going on, how the Gorakhpur incident happened, and that doctor actually helped, and that a person is now acquitted all those allegations and all, and still the problems are there in the health sector. No great improvement we saw even after that. So this is why the basics are really weak in the states like UP. There they need to improve a lot there. Rajasthan, if can improve, certainly all these states can improve, because Rajasthan in comparison to Uttar Pradesh, having lesser opportunities among all the sectors, whether we talk about business, whether we talk about agriculture, whether we talk about the water availability, every factor is less improved than UP, but the condition is very very bad there, and there are various factors, and the sincerity is really the most important one there. So this is all you can write. Very important mains answer here, and very important facts for prelims are also there in this data. So we will move forward now. You can see in this chart, in this important data set, everything is given, and state-wise data is given, and you can see MBBS course is lagging a lot. The least number of degrees were there in the MBBS course, just 0.74%, and you can see BA course is most aspired one, 93.4 lakh degree holders are there. So there is a kind of imbalance, and this country needs a lot of doctors, this country needs a lot of professionals there, and especially in the health sector we have major challenges, but this data shows a lot. Okay, so that's why the conditions needs to be improved here. So these are the data with us, and we have to identify the issues, and we need to find the solutions there. So this is as straight as that. Now green energy targets lacks deadline. Here, as I told you, for 2022 we have made a target of 175 gigawatts of energy. 100 gigawatt will come from a solar energy sector, and out of 180 gigawatts they are already installed. So 3 years are left, and we may achieve this target. Hopefully some challenges are there, but we will achieve this target. Next, in the latest claim, we have pledged that we will take this 175 to 450 gigawatts of renewable energy, and that's really a very very ambitious and a huge goal, but the deadline is not given. That's really concerning, because 175 gigawatts deadline was 2022, but this 450 is a nice goal, and we have got a lot of accolades for that, but the timeline is not given. So that must be fixed so that the transition can be accordingly, because without a timeline in this country things will lag for decades, it will not be completed ever. So that's why the timeline is certainly necessary here. And more important issue is that on the plastic, a lot of initiatives and missions are going on. These are really great. 2nd October, tomorrow, is a great day for all the regions. Gandhi's learnings in all the sectors like the life, politics, language, religion, society, all his directions are extremely relevant today, and more than ever they are relevant today. And we have set a lot of goals on Gandhi's birthday. So the open defecation free villages, and those electricity in villages, those targets, they are to be completed by tomorrow. So we have to see the stats there. A lot of reports will come on that day. And apart from that, regarding the ecological factors and environment, Gandhi's vision was extremely important. So we can cling all these things to this important day, and we may extend all these targets and further, like we have set 450 gigawatt target. So these things can be taken further. Next, the important IPCC meeting is going on, and as I told you yesterday in the MCQ lesson, WMO, World Meteorological Organization, plus UNEP, they both created IPCC in 1988, and it does not do any individual research. It assesses all the reports, and it brings out assessment reports. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 reports they have come till now. In 2015, in COP21, the latest report came, the AR5, and now they are in midst of the draft making of AR6, and that will be out by 2021, and 2021 and 22 they will bring out the final report, and that is going to be a shocking one according to these experts, because a lot of problems are in front of us. Practical issues are there. If we do not work on them, certainly we will be doomed, and no future generations will be able to survive on this planet, that's for sure. So this is going to be the most detailed one, most important one, and most factual one. an eye opener this will be. So that will be out by 21-22, and this is the working group that is meeting here in New Delhi, and all these issues are clubbed together and they are discussing these things because things are all connected. If you talk about the renewable energy targets, then certainly you are talking one of the factor of climate change issue. Next, the account deficit, current account deficit. We know if expenditures are more and receipts are less, then this is going to be a deficit condition. And current deficit, CAD plus capital deficit, they both make fiscal deficit. Fiscal deficit target is going on 3.3% we want to achieve right now, and later till 3 we will bring it, but many challenges are there. Here the current account deficit that contracts from 2.3% of GDP to 2% of the GDP, so that's a good number. And from $15.8 billion, it is now close to $14.3 billion. You see, this is good, and we have done this and we have made this possible. That is good, but how we could do that? Is it because of less expenditure? Yes, the expenditure is less, that is why we are able to contract this account current account deficit. And some more factors are there, like the private transfers, they were more this year, and software receipts were more this year. Lower crude oil prices were there in this year, and this year means the first quarter of the 1920 fiscal year. So April, May, June data are these. And inflow of external commercial borrowing was $6.3 billion against an outflow of $1.5 billion a year ago. So here on all these parameters we have gained here, and actually the expenditure was less and the receipts were more, and that is why we were able to control that. And we already said that current account deficit is very less in number, and that's a kind of a good space for the government. But you see, it is not always the case that it is the best condition, because in a growing economy deficits will be there. Fiscal deficits, current account deficits will be there always. For the biggest countries there are huge number of deficits, like for America a huge deficit number is there, but they hardly care about it because the growth is way more important. And here we need to focus on a lot of growth factors instead of the deficit factors, and that's why some experts are saying that why we are focusing a lot on the deficit numbers and controlling this deficit. It matters, but it doesn't matter that much. The growth matters way more than that, and that is why we need to bring more and more expenditure there. Public expenditure is the dire need of the hour, because private investment is virtually stagnant and public expenditure can only save the situation. And here we need to apply the expansionary measure, otherwise a huge economic crisis is standing in front of our door, and we will have to deal with that, and that will be extremely difficult condition. All the conditions have been there in our favor for the last 4-5 years. Low crude oil prices and all, although the world trade conditions were not favorable, but these things were in our favor. So even after that, we are at this stage where unemployment numbers are very high and the growth is really troublesome. In another report today, they are showing that the core sector growth is at minus 0.5%. That's really shocking. Means it used to be there near 9-10% some years back, and now minus 0.5%. That's really shocking. Core sector means steel, coal and electricity, crude oil, natural gas, refinery products, fertilizers. These are the core sectors, and their contribution is close to 40% in the overall industrial output, and that is getting a growth rate of minus 0.5%. Means in the majority of the sectors there is contraction instead of growth. So that's really scary a number. So we have to do a lot of expenditure here, or infrastructure we need to invest here, and in especially the demand sector we have to take many steps. Whatever emergency steps we have taken till now, these are supply side measures. Like the government has decided on the corporate tax issue and other announcements were there, but they are not going to help the demand situation, which is really very very bad, because the demand is not there. That's why supply is lagging, and that's why the production is in difficult condition. Production in difficult means the jobs are not there. So that's a scary condition. That's why these things are good that we have contracted the deficit numbers, but we need progress and growth more than the deficit concerns. So that's the issue. Next, states gross fiscal deficit. Fiscal deficit, consolidated deficit of states is 2.6% of the GDP, and that's really in striking range of the recommendation of the FRBM review committee. That's really important. So we have achieved good number here. Expectations were like these numbers would be very high, but these are 2.6% only. So that's good. And outstanding debt for the states for the last 5 years is 25% of the GDP. So it's a medium term challenge for the states, and 25% is also not a huge number. So these things are manageable, and the major factor for the deficit in the states is the UDAY Yojana, the Ujjwal Discom Assurance Yojana, where the state governments, they have paid a lot to these power discoms. But again, a typical problem is there, that how we achieved this control. This has been achieved by sharp retrenchment in expenditure there, and that was necessary. If you are not doing expenditure, that means you are risking some things, and whatever was needed, you are not doing that. So if somebody would say that our family's condition is really bad, a lot of debt is there on my head, then if I cut all my expenditures, if I cut my expenditure on my food, if I cut my expenditure on my clothing, so I may lower my debt, but that is not a appropriate condition, because these are all necessary things. If I do not eat, I may go towards a bad health condition. I may become sick very very soon, and due to that illness, my performance will become worse than ever, and this is how I may lose everything. So the necessary expenditure is needed, but that is cut down by the state government and by the central government both. They may achieve deficit targets, but the crucial expenditure is the need there, and that's why the industries are crying. They are saying that the growth will not fall from heavens. You have to do some expenditures there, and they're not able to spend there. And in some other data, if those numbers are true, then the really scary condition is there. And according to that data, central government has spent 25 lakh crore rupees as a debt in last 5 years. So where they have invested that money, which are the sectors who are attracting this much funding? Because on the ground level, this is not more than an average growth or average economic progress, and it doesn't look like that the lakhs of crores of rupees are invested in a particular sector. So that's why that management of that money is really questionable. So we have to see what kind of data is that, and are these numbers really reliable, because some reports are saying that these are official numbers, but we have to see. So government has a lot of responsibilities, and the biggest one is the expenditure today, and there they need to focus a lot. So for GS paper 2 and 3, these issues are extremely important, and you may write mains question, you may write prelims questions on these datas, and the observations are really really important. Next issue, 3 judges bench will hear 7 pleas regarding the JNK shutdown, and majority of the cases are regarding the habeas corpus issue. You see 5 writs, High Court and Supreme Courts, they can issue, and habeas corpus is extremely relevant in this Kashmir condition, because in the lockdown many people are arrested. They may be there in house arrest, or they may be there jailed in various parts of the country. And in official data, the government said that 5 juveniles are also arrested. So habeas corpus issue is extremely relevant. People are giving pleas in the court, as because they can go directly to the Supreme Court or High Court according to Article 32 and 226. They can approach there because these are the fundamental rights. They can approach there, and these are the constitutional remedy issues. And when the violation is there for the fundamental rights, because somebody cages you, somebody puts you behind the bars, then it is violating your fundamental right. But is it legitimate or not? That is to be seen by the court. So with this habeas corpus plea, they will check these cases that these detentions are legitimate or not, and these all issues are related to the 370 changes. So everything will be relevant here, and they will analyze the situation. Already they have said that 5 judges bench will decide about this this important issue and the reorganization bill. So we will have to see what are the judgments about to come. The judgment will come in this month, and more are in line. So we have to see very important phase, but these writs are important. Article 32 is extremely relevant here. Next, the core sector growth. As I explained to you, 8 sectors, and these are the 8 sectors: coal, crude oil, natural gas, refinery products, fertilizers, electricity, cement and steel. Coal is crude oil, coal, electricity, cement and gas, natural gas. These 5 important sectors are giving negative growth rates, means the contraction is there. And for coal it is minus 8.67%. That's really a scary number. As I told you, the contribution is around 40% for all these 8 core sectors, and if 5 of them out of 8, 5 of them they are giving negative numbers, then really concerning situation is there, and they are the indications of continuing slowdown and weak demand in the system. And coal sector saw the sharpest contraction, and they are comparing these data with the last year's number and some previous months data also. Crude oil sector contracts by 5.4%, again a huge contraction. Natural gas 3.9% negative growth rate. Electricity also saw a contraction in August month compared to the growth of 4.5% plus 4.57% in previous months, but now minus 2.9%, and that's really a concerning issue. So these are extremely important issue. Maybe the media is only discussing the Imran Khan Pakistan issue, and they are on a daily basis derailing all the important issues. They do not want to engage the public in these crucial terms and these crucial subjects. So the media's role is also going very, very negative, and on a daily basis I'm telling you, because this is so huge a thing. And a word of devastation I use a lot in my videos. This was something that I got a message yesterday, but you see, the devastation I only use about the media issue, about some social situations. Why? Because the devastation is certainly possible, because you do not know what this country has seen in the past as communal rights, as religious rights, and these conditions of media where unprecedented misinformation ages we are observing. These things can certainly bring a lot of devastation, and devastation is a small word for the problems that they may bring in our country, because the misinformation issue in this kind of diverse country where a lot of fault lines can be there, because the diversity can be converted into differences there. So that is why devastation is certainly possible if things are mismanaged, and that's something I needed to tell you. Now a stretch is discovered in the Doab region between Yamuna river and the Ganga river, and that's western UP region. And there in Siratu, Manjanpur and Sarai Ankil, they have found a dried stretch under the ground. It's a paleo channel, and it was a kind of a link between Yamuna and Ganga. So the issues of Saraswati river, they are again coming to the surface, because all experts now accept this thing that Saraswati river was certainly there, but the actual map and the course and the geographical location there and the stretches, those are not totally confirmed, but that where this was located, how it was flowing. And today, if some rivulets are found under the ground and some are dried beds which are found like this. So they may give a lot of evidences, so they need to see. But certainly they have discovered an ancient buried river that links the Ganga and Yamuna. The map shows the possible course of a paleo channel there. So that's really important. So the geography of this region is very, very important. It's a plain region, and this was not there before the Cenozoic age. It all got developed in the Cenozoic era, and this all started, the Himalayas started rising 6.5 crore years back, and after that, due to these glaciers and these flowing rivers, they brought all the alluvial soil from Himalayas, and these plains were created. So these are the youngest features of Indian geography, these plains. Issue of monsoon. India is observing above average monsoon condition. Some cities like Delhi, they are deficient, and it's again an indication of high imbalance in the monsoon condition. According to numbers, 38% deficiency is there. Certainly it's a drought condition in Delhi region, but it's above average monsoon in most of the parts of the country. And you can see in the eastern UP and the Bihar region, excess rains are coming, and the life is totally devastated. And again, some allegations are there that the media is not covering this issue as it was covering some other parts of the country like Kerala and Tamil Nadu. These kind of issues were heavily reported, and a lot of helps were demanded, but they are not concerned much about Bihar situation. So that is also an issue. Okay, next, about the article today, link between jobs, farming and climate. Here Pulapre Balakrishnan talks about a typical condition and the linkages between the unemployment issue, the demographic issues, and the kind of economic crisis that we are going through, and the climate concerns which are going as a parallel discussions. So this issue is important for GS paper 2 and 3 mainly, and it is a very relevant topic for essay also, because essay section focuses on these kind of complex and combined topics where they can cover wide range of topics. So this is important. Here the writer said that ministers are running from pillar to post now and announcing many things, and things are really worrying now, and they have accepted these things indirectly, that whatever concerns the experts were raising for many months now, these all things coming to a reality. Now India needs some growth as income levels here are still very low. That's a reality. But here the writer is adding a specific line here, where Greta Thunberg in her speech in UN said that I am not concerned about the economic growth. All countries are focusing on the eternal economic growth there, and they are putting everything on stake in terms of environment and ecology. So she said that we are not focusing on environment, we are only focusing on economic growth, and here we are having great challenges about economic growth also. Instead of that, a balance is necessary in this world, but the conditions of the countries, they are very different. You see the condition of USA, the condition of Norway, Sweden, Switzerland, Australia, New Zealand, these Scandinavian countries, Western European countries, they are extremely different. The demographies are different, the pressures are different, and climate change can be a very concerning issue for those countries, because they have not had any pollution in the past, they have not had any kind of imbalancing situation in the past. The rivers are very clean, and these kind of problems are not there as they are there in countries like India, Pakistan and other Asian ones. These are so-called third world countries, but they always have experienced these kind of troubles. But now the debate has been risen to this level, and the West is extremely concerned. Not all the leaderships are concerned. Concerned people are more like the environmental bodies, the NGOs, the initiative takers. They are extremely concerned, and they have given this issue a huge kind of a focus, you may say. So India is going through a very complex situation where we need a lot of growth. Without growth, the capacities will not be there with us to deal with these challenges, whether it is coastal economic zones challenges, or the emission problems, or applying the cleaner fuels and cleaner technologies. These all things need a lot of investment, and the investment will come from our economic growth. And for economic growth, we need to, in a way, ignore some issues, because today we cannot give 5-star ACs to all people. Why? Because 5-star ACs are very expensive. Sometimes the rates are nearly doubled. So this thing needs a rich population, but India is not a rich country. The average people are not rich, so that's why it's a complex situation. Maybe this dialogue is surfacing in this word that eternal economic growth is good, but the balance is extremely important, and the nature and ecology that should not be ignored at any cost. So if we see all these issues, then India is doing really great, and in a balanced way we are taking things. Like we have again announced that 450 gigawatts we will bring, but issues with the economy now, they are troubling a lot. Unemployment situation is rising, and whole demographic dividend issue that would have been very much contributory to our balanced growth and a cleaner growth. Now that is hanging in the air in a way, because the demographic dividend will come from these young populations and who are unemployed today. That's really a problem. So economic growth has become a bigger challenge there, and countries like India, they are struggling with these emissions issues, pollution issues, plastic problems, and these land degradation issues, and all these problems equally. So economy is also a huge challenge, and the environment and ecology challenges are also huge. And in both the ways, countries like India, they are struggling way more than these developed countries. So that is why we need a lot of help here. So this is a important point. Next, dramatic rise in unemployment rate since 11-12. That's really concerning. Here the writer is telling us many numbers, like the rural males, who are the group who are hit the most, 40 years up to 11-12. This was the phase where some unemployment numbers were there, but now in 17-18 the unemployment numbers are 4 times of that particular phase. That's really a scary thing, and majority of the people, they are living in villages, and males, you see, these are males, because conventionally males are the earners for the families, and if you talk about employment in conventional India, then males are always preferred. But this is the condition for the males, although the numbers must be equal. But we are observing the condition of the rural India, where problems are so huge that how can we expect economic growth there? This kind of crisis is going on, and majority of these people, they are dependent on agriculture and allied activities, and there the deepest crisis is going on. Now government has responded to the slowing down of growth by announcing a range of measures. Corporate tax issue was one of that, but again, this may have a positive effect, but the move is not based on the big picture. Why? Because tax cut is meant to be remedy for stagnant corporate investment, and that is also not a guarantee that the investments will rise. Although they all are hailing this move, and they will say that these corporateers are saying that this will raise the investment issue, but this is not the case in 100% way, because they are happy because they will need to give lesser taxes now. But it is not a necessary thing, because the demand problem is really huge. There is less demand, and in some sectors there is no demand at all. If the demand is not there, then there is no meaning of investment. Nobody will invest there in a business where there is no demand. So for the investment, demand is way more important than these tax cuts, and there we have not announced anything huge. large part of corporate sales is driven by rural demand, reflected in the reported layoffs by biscuit manufacturers. Means we saw that Parle-G biscuit is consumed by the poorest of the people, and even in that sector, even in that business, the Parle-G business, they have laid off many employees. And this was the iconic example that the condition has become so bad that in rural areas people are not even able to buy a Parle-G biscuit of 5 rupee cost. So the situation has come to this level, and that's really scary number, because Parle-G biscuit is a part of FMCG sector, fast moving consumer goods. It's not any kind of a durable item sector. So this is really concerning, and if that is not revived, then certainly we cannot expect any huge thing here. Like the writer said, that flat screen televisions like the LCD TVs, mainly these are bought by the urban middle class families. If they have bought it once, why they will go for another TV for 4, 5, 10 years? They will not go for that, because that TV will run. So this is how urban people, urban middle class will not buy many things now, because they have bought many of the items already. So the growth and the demand will come from the rural sector, and there this economic crisis is going on. There is no employment, there is no money left with the people. Agriculture sector is totally doomed. So how you can expect some things? And that is why economy has very likely not seen anything like this since 1947. Really a scary situation. Agriculture performance is a significant explanation of slack domestic demand. Because the agriculture is doomed, majority of the population is dependent on that, and that's why their capacities are no more there, disposable incomes are not there, and that's why they are not able to buy even the cheapest of the things. So how the markets can revive there? So that's why the demand is doomed, and if the demand is doomed, supply is doomed, and there is no issue of investment. Nobody want to invest in these kind of businesses, and government has said no, we cannot do any public expenditure. Government has to spend in those areas where the incomes are raised for the common people, the poorest people. Maybe they have taken some steps like the PM Kisan Yojana and something like that, but that will not give big relief there. We need majority of investments in the MSPs issues, support prices issues, agriculture technology investments, where the investment in the agriculture is at the lowest for the last 3 decades, and we are not concerned about that. What we show in the mainstream debates, it's all security concerns, Pakistan, Imran Khan, everything. We never take these kind of topics. This situation is so bad, and as I explained to you, in the education sector, higher education is in trouble, employment is in trouble, and the rural economy is totally doomed. Agricultural sector is in a deep crisis, and the demand is low. So all these factors are combined, and they are hitting our future there. So these are important points. Non-agricultural firms observe slow agricultural growth. They are likely to shrink their investment plans and may not revise their decisions till the growth improves. Means the writer wants to say here that whatever growth will be coming, that will be coming from the rural plus agricultural sector, because non-agricultural firms will not invest in any business, because the primary sector is doomed, and if the growth they will see in the market, then only they will invest. But the agricultural sector, that will go on. People will need something to eat, but the farmer is not getting anything out of that. So the growth is must at the lowest level on the agricultural field, all in the rural economy. Otherwise, no growth will be visible in the market, no demand will be visible, and these non-agricultural firms, they will not take any step, they will not invest ever. That's the situation, and that's why if we expect any growth, if we expect any improvement, that would be coming from the agricultural sector, that would be coming from the rural economy sector, and that's why the unemployment in the rural males is a major problem there. So whatever economy expects and whatever solution to the problem of unemployment we expect, that must start with the agriculture production. And we are witnessing something wholly new in India in the last 10 years. It has long been recognized that there is a crop yield cycle related to annual variation in rainfall. Means the ecological factors are additionally problematic. monsoon imbalances are additionally problematic. But we have not invested anything in the basics of agriculture. We are not investing in the agriculture technologies. We are not supporting the farmer. Means leave about the additional things. We are not even able to give him the right compensation there for its crops and all. So intelligent governance, resource deployment, and change in farmers' behavior would all need to combine for this. Combined effort is needed. Today it is the phase that if you take step in a particular sector, that is not sufficient. You have to take large steps there, and that would be a combined step. Improvement in all these issues is important. So a lot of dedication is needed, a lot of honesty is needed, a lot of dedication by the government, both levels, center and the state, those are needed. Otherwise we are certainly doomed, because if this will go on for quite some time, then the economy will see the deepest crisis till date after independence. So it is now the time to draw in the public agriculture institutes and farmer bodies for their views on how to resuscitate the sector. This line summarizes the whole article, that this is something that we need. So you can write a mains question on this topic, that why we need improvement, or you may say a lot of improvement in the primary sector, especially in the agrarian sector, and why we need a robust rural economy for a better economic growth. Why this is the prime necessity, and can we do great in terms of economy without reviving the agricultural sector, and what are going to be the challenges in these solutions, and what are going to be the possible solutions there, what we need. So this can be a very important question for 600 words. You may write here. So I will stop the lecture now, and some time constraints are there. This lesson has become so huge, so we will take the additional article tomorrow. Thanks a lot. Keep watching. It was Amit Sani.